Welcome to How You Livin', a transformative podcast featuring best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and minister, Dr. Rick Rigsby. And now, Dr. Rick.
Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening. Let's continue discussing the need for genuine leadership, discovering ways we can encourage, empower, and impact those we're privileged to lead. I believe that a genuine leader, an authentic leader, is one who displays influential behavior. Such behavior is so respected. Others are not only inspired, but they're motivated. They're compelled to improve their lives in every single area, not just professionally, but personally and by the example of one who has positive influence in their lives. Growing your influence, in my opinion, it's the most critical asset an effective leader can possess. Growing our influence determines everything from the effectiveness of our leadership to the impact we have on people to our ability to inspire positive outcomes. It's not about education. I'm pro-education. I have 4 degrees. But friends, being an influential leader, being a genuine leader, has less to do with education or status or title or position or standing in the community. And it has everything to do with influence. I believe that influence is the trademark of genuine leadership. John Maxwell really challenged my thinking years ago when he said that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Our ability to influence people within the sphere of our periphery, that determines our impact. Our degree of influence determines the power and the reach of our impact. No influence, no impact. At best, all we'll offer is a form of leadership that is shallow, superficial, trite, and the end result, offering nothing more than just a nice impression. I refer to this disingenuine leadership as impressionistic leadership. How one presents becomes important. How one presents becomes paramount. Thus, the capacity to equip and to encourage and to empower and to inspire is severely limited because it's not really about leading others. It's about how am I appearing? Am I appearing glib? Am I appearing wise? Do I have a vocabulary that impresses people? Do I love to hear the sound of my voice? How do I present? That's what it's all about. And that's not influential leadership. That is not genuine leadership. That's a shallow version of one posing as a leader. You see, this shortcut to leadership, this shortcut to being an effective leader, in my opinion, it's one of our greatest challenges in this present age. I teach almost every day that leadership is not forged in a classroom. Leadership is not taught in a seminary or at a retreat. Those opportunities have value for sure. But genuine leadership takes time to develop because influence takes time to grow in one's life. You see, we live in an outcome-oriented world. Translation, we want change and we want it right now. We want success and we want it today. We want to be great without any struggle, without any difficulty. We want to be great and we want that greatness handed to us on a silver tray. Though we are citizens in an outcome-oriented culture, developing genuine leadership is process-driven. It's not something that we can adorn ourselves with. It's not something that we can barter or rent or borrow. It's not something that we can piece together after one session in a classroom. It's a leadership that is cultivated over a period of time, both good times, bad times, both mountaintops and both valleys. It's cultivated during times of certainty where you have to depend on redundancy, driving toward a predictable result. But it's also cultivated during times of uncertainty when you're not sure which way to go, where you have to depend on your values, when you have to make sure you're doing everything you can to pull the very best out of you. It's the kind of leadership that a global pandemic demands. You see, genuine leadership is cultivated from within. It's something that's cultivated based on behaviors that promote living the right way. You see, that right living was modeled every day of my father's life that I was with him. It was modeled by my dad, who taught me, who prepared me to be a genuine leader. He modeled two very important principles. I can hear his voice right now ringing in my head with a piercing familiarity. I can hear him. Son, yes, Dad, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's powerful, friends. How you do anything is how you do everything. The second principle, son, yes, Dad, it's never wrong to do the right thing. Aristotle, that great Greek rhetor, said it like this: you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Did you catch that last part? Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, a habit, a habit. That word habit reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. It's from 18th century English writer Samuel Johnson, who said on one occasion, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken." Imperative in that quote is this notion: every single day, we must remind ourselves that the effective leader, that the person who makes an impact, must practice positive habits that reflect living the right way. Oh boy, I saw it in my dad. I watched my dad live this way for 41 years of my life. My father passed away when I was 41. He was 77. But I watched him with very little education, with even less status. Yet, his influence this day is so far-reaching that my dad is being quoted on every continent worldwide. And if you think that that's rather ironic, one word explains it: influence. My father grew his influence every single day. And when I look back on it now, I think this: he grew his influence during the seemingly mundane episodes of life. How'd he do it? By practicing good habits that revealed the highest standards. This is why I firmly believe growing one's influence determines the effectiveness of one's leadership, not education. My father never made it past the third grade, not status or title. My father was a cook at California Maritime Academy in Northern California, a university that trained folks going into the maritime industry. Not status, not position, not notoriety. My father was hardly known outside of his hometown. But how he chose to live his life every day. I'm talking about keeping his word, telling the truth, thinking the best of people, doing what he says he's going to do, committing every day to growing, not being a know-it-all. I can hear my father's voice: son, you'd rather be curious than certain. Giving his best, even if he didn't feel like it. Even if he didn't feel like waking up at 3 and 4 in the morning because he had the breakfast shift that started at 5 in the morning at the academy. Even if his body was aching, it wasn't about making excuses. It was about giving his absolute best. It was about doing the right thing all the time. And I'll tell you, those words are etched indelibly upon the placard of my heart. And I think my father's influence on me is why I have spent several episodes discussing the basic building blocks that construct the foundation for genuine leadership. Brick building blocks that are essential to growing influence in our lives. Briefly, they include growth. Effective leaders must commit to growing every single day. The second building block to genuine leadership: preparation. My father would often say, if you don't plan and prepare, you're depending on luck. And the word luck was not in my father's vocabulary. Remember, friends, great people do things that other people don't. Great leaders do things that other people won't. Great leaders prepare and influence others to do the very same thing. I'm thinking right now about this great football coach for the Miami Dolphins named Don Shula. As I talk to you in 2025, the Miami Dolphins still have the record of having the only perfect season recorded in the National Football League. Think about that for a moment. But here's my point about preparation. Prior to a Super Bowl that the Dolphins would play in, Don Shula Coach Shula drove to the location where the Super Bowl was being played, and he wanted to determine the impact of the sun on his players. And so he sat at several spots in an empty stadium well before the Super Bowl was played and recorded where the sun would be at certain times in the afternoon and early evening. Listen one more time. Great people do things that other people don't. Don Shula, a Hall of Fame coach. Great leaders do things that other people won't. Don Shula, the only NFL coach to lead his team to an undefeated season. And great leaders prepare, and they influence others to do the very same thing. I believe that the third building block that establishes the foundation for genuine leadership is disrupting our own thinking, disrupting existing paradigms and patterns that compels us to be innovative, that challenges us to be open to new ideas. Authentic, genuine leaders are not afraid to disrupt their own thinking. The fourth foundational block, I love this one, righteous living. I ask myself a simple question every day: Rick, how are you living? And my goal is to live a righteous life, doing the right thing all the time, whether somebody is looking or not, doesn't matter. Whether the spotlight is on or whether the spotlight is off, doesn't matter. You see, this fourth foundational building block of righteous living, it's very important to me because it's personal. Many of you know my story that listen to my podcast. My first wife passed away after a 6-year battle with breast cancer, 2 days before Trina died in 1996. She was in pretty bad shape. I'll spare you the details, but I want you to listen what she said to me, because it was an instructive that guides my life every single day. She looked me right in the eye 2 days before she passed away, and she said, "It doesn't matter to me any longer how long I live. What matters to me most is how I live." Friends, let me tell you something. How one lives supersedes everything else. I'm talking about living the right way. I'm talking about living above the fray of feelings, revenge, malice, strife. I'm talking about living a life of righteousness, the kind of life that grows your influence. And this is what I firmly believe. Righteous living is contagious. Righteous living is inspiring. It's powerful. It's transformative. It's impactful. Righteous living is influential. Righteous living on the part of a leader changes organizational culture. And that leads us to the fifth foundation, the fifth foundational building block on which to develop genuine leadership. You ready for it? Our character. Oh boy. I'm going to have to spend another episode talking about character, but at least let me introduce the subject. I think most genuine leaders would agree that just as important as clear communication, as setting high standards, as fostering innovation, critical thinking, and problem solving, character is paramount. The integrity of the leader is critical, especially when it comes to growing our influence. Effective leaders demonstrate high ethical standards and integrity. The result is a leader who earns the respect of others. I'm thinking right now about great people like Mother Teresa, who gave her all willingly so that she could help all. I can't help but think of that former basketball coach at UCLA, John Wooden, who taught character as a critical element to his pyramid of success. Simply stated, listen carefully, character is a consistent pattern of positive traits and actions that demonstrate integrity, compassion, and a commitment to ethical behavior, benefiting both the individual and those around them. This includes qualities like honesty, kindness, loyalty, responsibility, often manifesting in both personal and public life. That's a lot to unpack, and we'll do that, friends. In the next episode, I want to take some time and drill deeply into this definition. But before I go, I want to give you something to think about. Let me leave you with this one thought. It's a quote by this great Bible teacher by the name of Joyce Meyer. This quote has challenged me for years. It's a quote I think about every day. I want you to listen carefully. I want to say it twice. Joyce Meyer said on one occasion, "Your gifting will take you places your character cannot keep you." Your gifting will take you places your character cannot keep you. I sure hope your plans include joining me again as we continue to talk about this foundational building block on which we can grow genuine leadership. It's called character. I want you to think about that quote and let's revisit the subject of character when we meet again. That's going to do it for this episode. Until we meet again, this is Dr. Rick asking the most important question I can ask. How you living?
Are you ready to make an impact in your world right now? Do you want to stop existing and start living your best life right now? Dr. Rick wants to give you the first chapter of his best-selling book, Lessons from a Third Grade Dropout, absolutely free. Just go to www.rickrigsby.com/free gift to get the print or audiobook right now.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.